Hi, this is Sonia from Beta Healthcare. This is the first of two videos about exporting reference sets. SNOWOWL supports two different export formats. Today I will demonstrate how to export a reference set to a delimiter separated value file or a short DSV file. You would choose this format if you need a text file that can be used in other applications, for example in Microsoft Excel. The other option, which I will show in the next video, is an export to the SNOMED CT release formats RF1 and RF2. There are two ways of starting an export. You can either do it from the reference set view, just by right-clicking the reference set that you would like to export, and then you select Export Reference Set, and here are the two options. Or if your reference set editor is already open, like for example this one, which is a reference set called Continents, very small one, it has only 8 members, you can just use this button up here. Okay, let's start the export. First, we need to specify the file name and location. I will just call it Continents. Export it to the desktop. We also need to indicate which character should be used to separate the different fields of information in the export file. So we could use comma, space, but let's stick with tab, and proceed. What we can see here is a list of the attributes for the export items. The icons indicate what kind of attribute it is. So this tag here indicates that these are descriptions, for example, preferred term. The flag indicates this is a relationship. And these are different properties such as status or module. And this list was calculated based upon the attributes of the reference set members. That means that at least one concept in this reference set has this attribute. The reference set I selected is a fairly simple and small one. This is why we just have a short list here, but I will show you another example later where we have a reference set with a lot more attributes, and then the list is a lot longer. For the export, we need to select which export items should be exported by moving them from the left side to the box on the right side. If you wanted to export all attributes, you would just use this double arrow and move them all over. It goes both ways. You can just select a single one just by using these arrows, or you can also hold down the Control button or Command on Mac and then select multiple attributes. I would like to export the fully specified name, the preferred term, and the status. Just move them over. These arrows can be used to change the order. So this is going to be in a spreadsheet. So if I wanted to start with the fully specified name and then the preferred term, I can change the order here like this. It's also possible to export the description ID and the relationship ID just by checking these boxes. But let's not do this. Let's just export these three. And run the export. It was very fast, was very small reference set, and follow the link to the export file. Here it is, it's a text file, but I will open it with Excel, just easier to look at, and let me just format it so it's a bit better to see, and change the column size, make it a bit bigger. Here we go. You can see the concept ID was automatically exported, so this is always in the first column, so you don't need to indicate this in your wizard. One concept ID is a lot longer because this is a concept I created in the B2I namespace. The other ones are all SNOMED CT core concepts. Here's the fully specified name with the semantic tag, the preferred term, and they are all active. Let's close it and go back to SNOAL. Let me show you another example of a reference set that has a lot more members. This has over 600 members, and you can see if I open one of the members that we have a lot more attributes that were specified here. So we have several synonyms, product term, short name, an administration method, a product hierarchy levels. So you see it's a lot more complicated. So all of these attributes will show up on the list, which means you can export them. Sorry, here we go. So here we have the dose form reference set, and let's just export this. Again, I'm going to call it dose form, keep tabs, and here it already calculated the list, and now you can see that we have additional description types, here the product term, the short name. We have additional relationship types such as the delivery device, the administration method, and we also have data type properties like numerical values, for example, for drug ingredient strengths. I would like to export the preferred term and the short name and the administration method. And let's run the export. It takes a bit longer because we have a lot more members. And let's just take a quick look. Here we go. So you can see the concept ID again, the preferred term, the short name, and some of the members don't have attributes defined here. So this is why the cell is empty. We have different property groups for the administration method, and depending on which property group it is in, there were different columns created here for this. So this is what it looks like for a bit more complicated reference set. Okay, so much about exporting DSV files. In the next video, I will show you the other option, which is the SNOMED CT release formats RF1 and RF2. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye-bye.